welcome back to Typecast Heroes, where we believe typology can save the world. I'm Amanda Folsom. And I'm Jessie Miller, and today we are talking about extroverted sensing as it presents in the inferior function. Just a heads up, that's me. So this is for the INFJs and the INTJs. She's an INFJ, if you don't know. Anyways, so in the beginning of every one of our videos, we always state that anyone can be anything. And while we wholeheartedly, fully believe that statement, the purpose of this series is to really focus on the function, which in this case is extroverted sensing, and the placement in the cognitive stack, which in this case is the inferior position. So what we're going to be talking about and exploring is the consistencies that we see between INFJs and INTJs that are using the SE inferior function. So when we're going through all these examples and situations, while that is helpful for us to relay this information to you and for you guys to understand as well, the purpose behind it is to explain the actual motivation behind the behavior. So keep that in mind, keep the why in mind, should be no problem for you guys, on why you're doing what you're doing when you're using SE inferior. All right, so something else to remember. First off, if we say anything that you don't understand, go over to our channel because we've got lots of resources for INTJs and INFJs for all of the things. Cognitive functions, cognitive stack, a video dedicated to just you, all sorts of things. And something else to remember is that John Beebe referred to something called an ideal type average. And that is not ideal as in perfect, that is ideal as in looking at like a theoretical idealized version of something. And so there is a average for each type. And so if you don't relate to something in here, that might mean that you have not yet encountered this. You could be so blind to this that you think you don't do it, but you do. Or you could be older and you could have already overcome this particular downfall for the INFJ and the INTJ. So having said all of the disclaimers, let's jump into the function. So the inferior function is something that you feel embarrassed about, you feel guilty about not being good at it. You feel like you can feel very defensive about this function. One of the best ways to upset an INTJ or an INFJ is to tell them they're unrealistic. And that is because they have an extroverted sensing inferior function. Extroverted sensing is very based in reality, it's very based in concrete details, and it's very based in time. It is so foreign to me. I will have flashes of moments of intense, crazy reality, and I feel like I'm on like euphoric almost. Because it's like literally she just took a drug or something, and it's like heightened sense of everything. I cannot. So introverted intuition kind of lives in like dream state. So like I literally cannot imagine the force of reality around me. Oh my God, that makes me nauseous. Like it's like, but it's also really exciting. So, however, I also know logically, I understand that a lot of the things that I want to have happen are unrealistic. And so what tends to happen with INFJs and INTJs is they get super defensive about this and they will fight you and they will tell you, no, I'm super realistic. Or they'll tell you they're super practical. Again, that's extroverted sensing. So extroverted sensing, when it's in a extroverted sensing dominant, has a full range of things. So it's like it's picking up all of the details. It's interested in engaging. There's like not a whole lot of barrier between you and your environment. They're interested in like physical items and like understanding like the physical, practical, tangible reality of things. When it's your inferior function, the range is so little. Like there's not near as much. And so it can present in a couple different ways. So telling them they're impractical, presenting them with concrete facts that don't match their introverted intuition is really challenging for them, because if you stick concrete facts in front of them, sometimes they can get real defensive real quick. Another thing is their physical appearance tends to be, it's an insecurity for lots of people, but it's just another way that it can present for an INTJ or an INFJ. They also really, really, really want to bring their visions, like their introverted intuitive visions, whatever that may be, out into reality. And a lot of times that's really scary because reality is a scary place. And so INFJs and INTJs will just walk around with like these theories in their head. They're also really afraid to bring them out into reality because if they do that, it might not look like it looks in their head, and that's scary too. They have
or if it
fails
and like everyone gets to see it fail because now it's out in reality. It's risky putting any of your NI out into reality because it is so sacred in a way.
It's scary. It's an extension of yourself because you don't have a good
sense of self.
You don't have a good sense of self all the time, which is what I'm learning more and more. Oh, Lord have mercy. So also something else that's bad is INFJs and INTJs lie a lot. It's not even on purpose. It's because they have trouble. They have a tendency, let's fix that. They have a tendency to lie a lot, like I just did. They over-exaggerate. They have a tendency to do that not because they're trying to deceive you. It's an accident. So like I gave an example in the INFJ video of when I said like, oh, my son is turning 8. Or my son is 8. My son doesn't turn 8 until October. But I'll say that because time does not, it's such a minuscule detail and time seems so unrealistic to me that I will say it without even thinking about it. I've also said things like, oh yeah, that happened last week and it happened 2 years ago. Crazy things all the time. I'm so bad at time. And it's not even like I'm trying to lie. It's just that I don't pay attention.
It's just not what her focus is
at all. I'm not at all. And when a INFJ or an INTJ gets into that extroverted sensing grip and they want like all of the physical pleasures all of the time, they don't know their body's limits. And so they can spend, they can like do so, like I will be focusing on something, and Amanda's used this example before where like I'll be focused and like zoomed in on something for hours and hours and hours and hours, and my son could be playing, and then all of a sudden it's like I wake up and I'm in reality and that sound is really annoying. But it's been going on for hours.
The exact same sound for hours. She doesn't notice it immediately. It does not bother her until she's got like a split-second break from whatever her actual focus is.
Whatever my NI is doing.
Yes. And then all of a sudden it's like, that's the worst thing in the world and it has to stop right now. And everyone around her is like,
what just happened?
It's literally been happening.
Because I've had a flash of reality that I usually am not seeing. And INTJs are exactly the same way. And so it is, it's really annoying. It's not so great. I also have a tendency to get injured a lot. So I'm a runner and I hurt myself at least every 6 months. That is not an exaggeration.
No, that is not.
I've been a runner for 2.5 years. I just checked and did the math to make sure I told you the correct thing. But yes, I've been a runner for 2.5 years and I have injured myself severely so many times because it's like I don't even notice pain because
it doesn't fit into her
NI framework and I don't care about my body at all. And I actually just told this to so SE can have, for an inferior function, can be like a vacation from yourself. So this is why INFJs and INTJs need healthy extroverted sensing, because when they indulge in that function in a healthy way, then it's like it's giving your mind a break. And as you get older, I'm not there yet, but so it's funny that I'm talking about this, and Amanda and I were just talking about this. We are just now hitting that age where people naturally start getting into their inferior function, which is like their early 30s into their 40s. And then after that comes shadow work. But for now, this is where we should be. And extroverted sensing, if I'm doing it in a good way, can be a very healthy release. I was just talking to an ESTP about this the other day where I can run like 7, 8, 9 miles. And when I'm running like that, what I'm really doing is I'm forcing my body to experience so much that my NI, my introverted intuition, has to stop. So that I can experience something else. But I can't yet access my extroverted sensing in a healthier way to hit that release, that vacation from my mind. And so that's why I have to go to such limits. But one day, hopefully, that will not be the case. So that is just what naturally happens to people as they get older. They want to start indulging in their inferior function, but they don't yet know how.
Another way, even though I'm the extrovert of this friendship, I tend to like not want to go out to parties or big events or anything like that unless it's like an adventure. Like I don't want to be surrounded by people usually. And typically neither does Jessie. However, there are certain times where she does, where she really wants to go out. I can think of a specific situation just a few years ago with one of our ESFJ friends, actually, who was throwing a party, and I was like, just did not want to be around people that weekend at all. And Jessie so badly wanted to go.
Yes, I did.
And it worked for her. Like, it helped her. It was healthy. It was a healthy way to do it without going like totally crazy. In an unhealthy way, like a little bit more unhealthy. It's still not like crazy.
Oh, I forgot this happened.
But Jessie, but I know that it's so unusual of her. So like, I did not forget this happened. That, you know, she went out and had a great time with these people. But like, I remember her telling me this story where there was like a lot of crazy, it kind of felt like a high school party. And yet she was like, and I'm like, oh my God, that sounds like my hell. And she was like, it was so much fun. It was just fun to like be out and be crazy and like not have any worries.
Not too crazy, guys.
No,
I mean, like,
nothing
this is
crazy.
like with like older people.
It
like
was
an older people party.
And it was just older people wanting to release and have fun, which again sounds like my hell, even though I'm an extrovert. However, for Jessie though, it was a release. It was leaning into that, and like, it was just a little release. But you could see by me giving you these examples how it could be pushed to unhealthy limits. Mm-hmm. Just like her running is a very healthy release. However, when she pushes herself to run that 10th mile and she hurts her foot and then continues to run on it for 6 months because she refuses to let it heal, unhealthy way.
I'm a work in progress.
As we all are.
As we all are. I know that there are, so my INTJ buddy, the one who, well, I won't call him out, but my INTJ buddy, he experiences his extroverted sensing and indulges in it with video games. So he likes that sensory overwhelm of having all the video games and all of the things in his face all the time, and it forces him in the moment so much. He loves point and shoot games. It absolutely blows my mind that somebody's so academic, so freaking brilliant, and so like, he's way smarter than me. He's like insanely intelligent, and he spends so much time on video games, and I don't get it. But it's a way that he indulges his extroverted sensing, and he's younger, so he might change his mind one day on that one. However, yes, it's just the way that introverted intuitives have to figure it out, because being human is really freaking hard, man. And hopefully we're making it a little bit easier. Like, subscribe, comment, share, all the things. We really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, welcome to TCH. And please go watch our very first video called Welcome to Typecast Heroes, so you can learn all about us, where we come from, where we are, and where we want to be. And also learn about this massive project. Speaking of which, once you go watch that, come back and interview. So if you're an INFJ or an INTJ and you have not gone through the interview process, please leave a comment below or message us on Facebook, Reddit, Instagram, or Discord, and Jessie will hook you up with an interview. We really appreciate it. See you next time.
Let's gather around the type fire and sing our type fire song. Our MBTITYPOLOGY song. And if you feel uncomfortable, then know there's nothing wrong.